Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Future of Our People video interview series. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Jarrod van der Westhuizen. Is that right? Did I get it right? Close enough. From the Nene Group. Thank you, Jarrod, for joining us today. I know our viewers will be really keen to hear what you're up to at Nene Group. If you could just introduce yourself and explain what you do at Nene Group and your size of your business and all that sort of stuff, that would be great. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. So Jarrod van der Westhuizen, head of strategy at Nene Group. Nene Group, we've been trading almost 50 years. Well, as of next month, 50 years. Obviously, I haven't been there since it started. I joined a few years ago. But we mainly, our core line of services are within the logistics warehousing industry. But we have, over the last few years, started to branch out into the likes of a full turnkey solution provider, electrical work, solar work, building commercial properties, so on and so forth. So yeah, we've grown a lot also in the last few years, taken on a lot of staff. I think there's roughly 60 plus in our Nene Warehouse Solutions site. There's a few of us here in Northamptonshire towards the centre in Grange Park. Yeah, that's really Nene Group in a nutshell, and I'm sure I'll get into it a bit more.
Awesome, that's great. Thank you very much. So at Nene Group, as you say, like logistics is your industry. What would you say? What do you see as like the biggest challenge when it comes to engaging your people and comes to creating that culture that you want to drive Nene Group forward? What's the hardest part of that, would you say?
Yeah, in our industry, it's really building a sense of community and engagement amongst employees is the biggest challenge. How we sort of combat that is by implementing sort of team building activities, encouraging open communication between our employees and prioritizing their well-being, sort of creating that environment where they feel secure and open to say anything, no matter what sort of line or manager they're talking to, or whoever it may be. Yeah,
that's cool. And have you got any particular like initiatives that you do in terms of creating that community that you would recommend that other organizations think about?
Not particularly. We're really we are at the heart of it a family business, so we like to create that sort of family feel across the organization. We still have a lot of family members working within the group, so it's just building that sort of, we have programs that our personnel manager, Katie Joseph, she sets up across the year, whether it's quiz nights, whether it's our big Christmas parties, so on and so forth, giving incentives to employees to come and sort of interact with one another outside of work as well as in the office to just create a better culture, better atmosphere.
Absolutely. And I think these days those sorts of things can be really played down, but they're so crucial in terms of building that connection, because people don't work together very well if they haven't got that connection and they haven't got that trust. And you tend to not get that through work meetings. You need to have that different type of interaction. Love it. And I can imagine if you're sorry.
We've had a lot of new hires across over the last year. So it's really, there's a lot of, we've been through a lot of changes. So it's reinforcing that culture with the new hires that come in, making sure they feel secure, open, able to ask any questions that they have, and any training opportunities that they may desire. We look into that for them as well. Awesome.
Love it. A nice welcome. I imagine you've got some plans to celebrate the 50 years.
Yeah, we do. We think we're going to celebrate it early on next year, because the group is December 50 years, but Nene Warehouse Solutions, our storage and sort of warehousing company, that is celebrating 50 years in March next year, from the top of my head, I believe. So look to together.
And there's already too much merriment in December anyway, so more. Awesome. How would you describe the culture at Nene Group in 3 words, if you can?
Well, I've already touched on it. It might not be 3 words, but family orientated, and then innovative and collaborative is what I would say the three words are. I know it's 4, but we'll say it's 3.
I'll let you have it. If we do a hyphen for family oriented, you're fine. And tell me a bit more about the other two. We've obviously talked about the family side, but in terms of the innovative, how does that manifest? Like, how do you see that in action?
So a lot of the time within particular companies within the group, we'll have whether it's marketing, whether it's our solutions team, whether it's our BDM team, coming up with new offerings, new ideas for the industry and the marketplace through what we're currently providing. And we'll look to sort of channel those ideas, work on it as a team. So that's the collaboration sort of element of it, various stakeholders, and then implement them, providing we've gone through the qualification and the use case of it. So yeah, at all sort of levels across the group, you'll have a lot of new ideas that will then sort of hash out, if you will, and then provide them into the marketplace where applicable. Awesome.
I love that. I think so many companies are missing a trick by not doing that, because quite often the ideas are not they're only coming from the top, and then they get implemented, and like the people who are actually meant to be implementing it are kind of the recipients, and they haven't had any involvement, so they don't have any ownership, and they didn't really help create it, and they probably think it's a really rubbish idea anyway, but they didn't get the opportunity to share those thoughts. And they're like, I don't know why no one's engaging with this change project. It's like, because you didn't engage them with it. Anyway. Love it. How about recruitment? So in terms of attracting talent in your industry, what's that like in logistics at the moment? And I guess, what are your key strategies in terms of sourcing that?
Yeah, so it's pretty competitive to attract top talent currently and previously. I mean it always is, no matter what industry you're in. But we sort of look to differentiate ourselves by offering a supportive work environment, which I've touched on, competitive benefits, healthcare, the likes, and so on, whatever additional benefits an individual requires, and that can be custom to themselves or their role or whatever that may be. Ongoing professional development. So our head of compliance, Sharon O'Connor, she's always looking for new training incentives, programs to help people. We recently had a company called Transition 15 come in, aid our development and our training processes, and everyone went through sort of a what would you call that? A process, let's say, of what their role entails, how could we better help them to perform their daily duties, so on and so forth. Brilliant.
Love it. And in terms of differentiating yourselves, obviously, like, I think the family thing is really important. In terms of like your employer brand, is that something that you kind of pay a lot of attention to get that differentiation out in the marketplace?
It is. It's something that we feel holds a lot of value. The fact that over the last 50 years, it's been family centric, and although there's quite a few of the family who own Nene Group that work in the various businesses, it's still creating that sort of family centric organization for newcomers as well, to feel that they belong in there, that we've gone through a bit of a transformation, and it's it's a corporate company now more than a, say, small family business. But yeah, it's really on our core values that family is a big thing for us.
Yeah. Awesome. And I think, like, with employer brand stuff, it's just so important, isn't it? Because candidates can then do almost like they can self-assess before applying to see, they can get a really good idea as to whether they would fit, culturally. They can, not that we don't want a diverse workforce, but they can figure out whether that's the sort of company that they want to work for, and saves you guys a lot of time. Perfect. What does a great leader look like in your eyes?
In terms of at Nene or in general?
In general, I think.
Okay, so what I would say is it's someone who leads by example, values collaboration. So the likes of what we just touched on, the innovative ideas of employees being able to collaborate on it, and also sort of demonstrates a genuine commitment to employee development and well-being. Essentially, a leader has to practice what they preach. And that's ultimately, if they lead by example, that's what makes them a great leader in terms of whichever organization they're in, whatever culture that they follow.
Yeah.
If they're the ones sort of pulling that direction, then you hope that the rest will emulate that and follow in their footsteps.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's so true. I think something that I've noticed in the past with leaders, when they don't do that, is quite often their own well-being. So they'll kind of introduce all these well-being initiatives and then be working ridiculous hours and replying, sending emails at whatever time at night, and then be like, why is everyone burnt out? Like, because they're just copying you. Like they want to do well. Like, so they're copying, emulating what you do. Like, oh, okay. Anyway.
Exactly.
And you've touched on this a bit already in terms of the kind of focus that you put on personal development at Nene Group, but how do you ensure that you and your co-leaders at Nene Group continue to develop as leaders?
Yeah, I think leadership development's pretty crucial. So I touched on the likes of our head of compliance, Sharon O'Connor. We invest in the training programs, managerial programs suited to that individual's needs as well.
Yeah.
Based on sort of training that we've gone through that has identified where they sit and where we can provide support to them. We also look at mentorship opportunities and staying updated on industry trends to ensure both myself and other leaders evolve and develop.
Yeah. Awesome. It's a never-ending journey, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always a learning process. Every day's a school day.
Indeed. And what steps do you take to ensure that everyone working at Nene Group like buys into that vision, and so everyone is, as you said, like leading by example, but also everyone's following that example, and kind of everyone's rowing in the same direction and making the boat go faster?
Yeah, it's one thing that we hope sort of we'd pick up on, or an employee would pick up on in their sort of initial interview stages or whatever it may be. But to ensure that we have alignment with our vision, we prioritize sort of transparent communication, involving employees in any decision-making processes where it's applicable to them, and foster a strong sense of purpose, let's say. So that really ensures that everyone's working towards shared goals and that we can all rely on one another to complete the task at hand. Awesome.
Yeah, so that in terms of accountability, but I think like those shared goals, that's so important, isn't it? Rather than everyone just kind of being in their own silo and there to get their bit done, actually all working together towards a common goal is really important. Good stuff. Exactly. Last but not least, what's next? What's next for Nene Group? What have you got coming up, though?
Yeah, it's been a hectic couple of years in terms of how we've gone about expanding the group or diversifying our portfolio. We're looking to expand our sustainable initiatives. We've recently relaunched our electrical contracting business, which also includes battery energy storage solutions, solar, so on and so forth. So those sustainable initiatives, further investing in employee development programs as and when employees request that. And then exploring strategic partnerships as well to enhance our market presence. So we've recently set up, as part of the group, a sort of ventures fund that a few of us are involved in. So that's assessing startup opportunities. It's non-synergistic businesses or synergistic businesses in line with our core offerings, which we may look to offer on its own or look to merge down the line into an existing business of ours. So yeah, it's a really exciting time and transformational time at Nene, and the future looks bright.
No resting on your laurels then, but definitely a big party to be had, so that's good. Sorry.
No worries. We're looking to essentially provide an incubator for business ideas or businesses in general that can have value from our financial backing, as well as our support across our networks or our personnel, to really foster that creation and grow it into a profitable business. So that's really how we're looking to diversify the group going forward, is having new ideas come in, or existing ideas that need a bit of support, a bit of backing, create that incubator program for them to really grow and excel within.
Nice. Exciting times ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
Jarrod, thank you so much. Really appreciate you taking the time to join us today. I know our viewers can learn so much from what you've talked about, so really appreciate that. To our viewers, thank you very much for joining us once again for the Future of Our People. I look forward to speaking to you soon.